On the morning of May 28th, 2025, Yunnan Province, China, woke up to disaster. Relentless rain poured down with a fury not seen in decades. Bridges vanished, homes collapsed, and thousands fled in desperation. But amid the devastation, another story emerged, a story of survival, courage, and solidarity. This isn't just a tale of nature's power, but of human strength. It began with a sudden surge of humid air. Over 200 millimeters of rain fell within just 12 hours, rainfall meant to last 2 months. The Nujiang River overflowed, unleashing its wild force. Satellite imagery showed a blocked low-pressure trough pulling in moisture from the Indian Ocean. Yunnan's mountainous terrain made it worse, forcing the clouds to dump their contents all at once. Multiple bridges collapsed under the raging waters. Landslides struck repeatedly. Sirens sounded at 2:15 a.m. in Gongshan, but for many it was already too late. Over 4,800 people were affected. Roads disappeared. Power lines were severed. Communication was nearly impossible. Rescue operations began immediately, braving the storm. Residents were evacuated to higher and safer ground. People ran through the darkness, guided only by instinct, courage, and a belief in a brighter tomorrow. As dawn broke, the scale of the disaster became clear. 27 homes destroyed, 16 bridges collapsed. Nearly 100 critical points on major roads were cut off. Tourist destinations like Bingjongluo were completely isolated. A young couple trapped in a guest house shared their last meal by candlelight. A father waded through chest-deep floodwater across a collapsed road, carrying his daughter, guided by neighbors holding a rope. People found shelter, and rescue boats ferried survivors to safety. And yet, not a single death was reported. Thanks to early warning sirens, brave neighbors, and tireless emergency responses, Yunnan was wounded but unbroken in the face of nature's fury. And then, a true miracle appeared: solidarity. In Dimaluo, a retired teacher named Mai Lin took in 20 flood victims, even though she had only 1 bag of rice left. She said, "If we survive together." In the midst of hardship, people helped each other. Rescuers coordinated via phone, pulling residents back from the edge of death. Farmers became rescue workers. Students armed with flashlights and ropes went door to door checking for survivors. A teenage boy swam across the raging waters 5 times to save neighbors. GPS apps and WeChat groups coordinated critical emergency missions. In one mountain village, locals formed a human chain to pass food across a dangerous stream, using plastic buckets and sheer willpower. They weren't heroes. They were simply people who acted. And they reminded us that sometimes the greatest force isn't the storm, but human kindness. The flood in Yunnan was not an isolated event. It is part of a troubling global trend. Natural disasters are becoming more intense, more frequent, and more devastating. Climate change is driving extreme rainfall, but chaotic urbanization is also accelerating disasters. Cities are expanding rapidly, but drainage systems can't keep up. Ground that once absorbed water is now covered in concrete, leaving rainwater with nowhere to go. Yunnan, once a peaceful mountainous province, has become a popular tourist destination. Luxury resorts have sprung up along streams, but proper flood drainage systems are often non-existent. Just one heavy rain is enough to turn this paradise into a waterlogged nightmare. As populations grow, people are building homes in low-lying areas, along old waterways, without proper planning. And when disaster strikes, that's a recipe for tragedy. According to the 2023 IPCC report, the frequency and intensity of extreme rainfall events will rise by 30 to 40% by 2050. Regions like Yunnan, with steep terrain, deforestation, and weak infrastructure, will be among the hardest hit. The world can no longer treat floods like the one in Yunnan as rare. They are becoming the new normal. And if we don't build our cities smarter, the consequences will be even more severe. Natural disasters test not only infrastructure but also the human spirit. Yunnan proved that even in darkness, resilience can shine. As the waters receded, the rebuilding began. But the stories of that night, the fear, the bravery, the kindness, and the unity will endure. This was nature's wrath, but also humanity's finest hour.